Right now, lawmakers in Washington pushing to pass a short-term spending bill to fund the government until March. Buying time is something we are used to seeing with this Congress as both sides still remain far apart on a final budget. Joining us this morning to discuss is Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Good morning to you, Brandon. So what do you think about this deal, and ultimately, what does it mean for the American taxpayer?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like deja vu all over again here. We're facing a partial government shutdown tomorrow at midnight, and Republicans still can't agree with Democrats on a path forward here. Republicans can't agree with Republicans in many instances on a path forward here. So we're going to be facing a short-term stopgap spending measure to get us into March, when Congress actually needs to be rolling up its sleeves, getting a deal done, not only that restrains spending, but also that has provisions to roll back portions of Bidenomics. And that's really where Republicans are dropping the ball. Their inability to legislate is harming the American taxpayer, and they need to do something about it very, very quickly.
Well, there's some issues that have to be addressed, though. House Republicans will not buy into some of these Democratic ideals here. The House could be using the appropriations process to block some of the administration's overreach. This package, though, does cut some funding to the IRS. Talk about that and how the agency is rewriting statutes and creating a tax filing service that was not approved by Congress.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, Jen. It's $10 billion trimmed from that enormous budget boost that they got a couple of years ago, $80 billion. This would trim another $10 billion from their budget. That's good news, I think, because the IRS really needs to be focusing on improving customer service before it goes into this audit everybody mode that it really wants to get to. But on top of that, we're looking at the IRS creating a tax prep service to compete with private business because they want to, not because they have the statutory authority, but just because they want to. I think that's really, really concerning. This is absolutely putting the fox in charge of the hen house. It's a horrible idea because the IRS is in revenue maximization mode. That means they are trying to squeeze as much out of each taxpayer as they possibly can. Allowing them to do your taxes is just going to turbocharge that. It's a horrible idea.
Yeah, I was reading also that you were saying Biden's using the Defense Production Act, which is meant for national emergencies, to take over pharmaceutical companies. Tell us more about this, and why isn't appropriations being used in the House to combat some of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly why we have the appropriations process, to rein in these types of behaviors. The Defense Production Act, like you said, it's supposed to be used for national emergencies, for national security purposes. It was used during the pandemic to increase production of things like vaccines and other equipment that was necessary during a heightened time of national security, a time of a national emergency. Now we're not in that mode anymore. We're not in a situation where there is a national emergency. Sure, there are problems out there, but the Biden administration is dictating what pharmaceutical companies can and cannot produce. I think that's a really dangerous road to go down when you have the government effectively in charge of what private businesses are doing.
All right. Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.